Hey there, we are continuing our quest to solve exponential equations. You've seen changing one base or changing no bases. Today's task is going to be solving exponential equations where we have to change both of the bases in order to solve it. Some of the same general skills are going to involve, but you'll see that changing both of them is required, and here's why. So check out this first example. We're going to solve this exponential equation. 8 raised up to the 2x plus 4 equals 16 raised up to the x plus 1. Now, the way we solved these before is we were thinking about something like, well, maybe I can change 16 into a power of 8 because then they could match up like the previous problems we've been working on. The problem is that you might be thinking, well, 8 and 16 are related to each other, right? Like 8 times 2 is 16. Yeah, there's a relationship there, but it's not exponential. Powers are numbers multiplied by themselves. So 8 times 8, although already jumps up to 64, so it's way too big to hit the 16. Both of these are going to have to be changed. So the toughest part when you start these is probably just going to be figuring out what to change them into. And it takes a little bit of guessing and checking, toying around with some numbers. You can use your calculator and just test out what works. Eventually, you'll find that both 8 and 16 are powers of 2. So 8 can be written as 2 to the third power, right? Because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 16 can also be written with a base of 2. It's 2 to the fourth power. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. So now here's that trick that we were working on last week. Now that both of these bases are the same, you can disregard the base. Right? I just cross them out. They don't technically cancel, but cross them out because you're not going to use them. You're only focused on the exponents. All right, so that's the only difference today, which is very similar to what we've done before. And so now it's just the solving steps. If there's exponents, you're going to have to distribute like these. So then the equation is, don't worry about the bases of 2, it's just that power of 3 multiplied by the expression 2x plus 4 equals, the other one is a 4 raised up to the x plus 1. All right, and then from there, just back to some Algebra 1 skills here, distribute, you get 6x plus 3 times 4 is 12. The other side of the equation, 4x, distribute, 4 times positive 1, positive 4. And then from here, it's just your solving. X's are on both sides. You can choose multiple ways to work this problem, but I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 4x, move it over, so it ends up on the left. I'm going to do 2 steps in one here. You can break it down further if you need to. Then I'm also going to subtract the 12, so my integers go to the right-hand side. All right, so the 6x minus the 4x is 2x equals, and then on the right-hand side, positive 4 minus 12, which is negative 8. So one quick step to divide out that 2, the coefficient of x, and negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. And there it is. It's solved. If you don't believe me, which is always good to question things, you should always question things, but plug it in. If you take that negative 4 and you substitute it in for this x, you substitute it in for this x and do the calculations, you'll get an equal equation. All right, done. Let's check out one more together. So same concept here, 64 and 16. If you try and think about, well, maybe I can only change one base. Well, this one can't be 16 to the second power. That's a really huge number. I don't know what it is, but it's a big number. So it's going to be way more than 64. Both of these are going to have to be broken down. And there are actually a couple ways you can do this problem. I'm going to go through one particular way and then just mention the other one. There's not an easier one. All right, so 64, you'll find that these can be written as bases of 4. 64 and 16 are powers of 4. 4 cubed is 64. 4 times 4 times 4, 64. 16 is 4 squared. So now we're back to that exact same work as before. The bases are the same, so you can disregard the base and just focus in on the exponents. On the left-hand side, it's pretty easy. It's just 3 with the x, so 3x. The other side, you do have to distribute. The 2 is going to multiply out with the expression x plus 4. That's no big deal that's just basic distributing, so 2x, 2 times 4, positive 8. And just solving for x, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 2x, get it over to the left, get 1x equal to that positive 8, and it's done. Same thing, you can always test it out just to be sure. Take that 8, substitute it in. They're going to come out to be a really, really big number, but they'll be equal to the same number. All right, and that is solving exponential equations where you have to change both of the bases to solve it. As always, you've got some practice problems to work on. Log in to one of my tutoring times if you need some extra help.